Hey guys, so this is something I kind of agree with because, any kind of game that has, loot boxes or, a gotcha system, there needs to be kind of clear rules and regulations and this and that. And Hoyo kind of has to be more direct with pull rates and, you know, instead of leaving it into like the fine print of you having to kind of click on things and search for it, it should just say that like, yeah, every 5 star you have a chance of, every 5 star you have a 0.06% of pull, which I think that's actually what the pull rate is. It's like 0.06% of pulling a 5 star. Um, but how they're going to enforce this, I mean, it's like adult sites. It's like you must be 18 years or older to use this, to view this site. Are you 18 years? Yes. So I don't know how they're going to implement something that makes sure that the people are, getting parental consent. I don't know. But FTC bans Genshin Impact developer from selling loot boxes to children under 16 without parental consent. Fines company $20 million, which for them, really not that much. They make so much just from transactions and all that. So that's, you know, the United States Federal Trade Commission announced it is banning HoYoverse, a developer of Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and ZZZ, from selling loot boxes to children under the age of 16. Will be fining them $20 million. In a press release, the FTC, the maker of the video game, Genshin Impact, has agreed to pay $20 million and to block children from under 16 from making in-game purchases without parental consent to settle Federal Trade Commission allegations. The company violated a children's privacy law and deceived children and other users about the real cost of in-game transactions and odds of obtaining rare prizes. Yeah, so people are they definitely need to make things more clear because there's like people you go through and you're like, okay, how many pulls have I done so far? So I have, okay, so I should be close to pity now. So that that should be a 5 star right there. But there's other things that so having a more clear, concise um idea of, oh hey, yeah, just because you spend this much doesn't mean you're going to get it. There needs to be clear, right there, right on the banner, because there's so much room on the banner that they should be able to put some kind of text there saying, the pull rate for this is this, the pull rate for this is that, every 10 pulls or whatever, every 90 pulls guarantees something like that. But so I agree that it needs to be, because even with adults, like I said, people are trying to count up how many, go back and see how many pulls they had and trying to, it just makes it just really complicated. And when you have a system where you're basically just pulling for things, you shouldn't have to do mathematical, problems and counting and all that just to figure out, oh, my pity to what it should be now before I can get it. You just, you know. Samuel Levine, the director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection, stated Genshin Impact deceived children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. I mean, it's not like you're not getting anything in return. It's just, I mean, I still agree that, if it's right on the banner saying, like currently it's Moeka and Sidlali. If you're pulling for Moeka or something, it should say right on the banner 0.06% of pulling character. So that way people can determine, okay, well, that's a pretty low chance. Do I want to spend money on that? He added, companies that deploy these dark pattern tactics will be held accountable if they deceive players, particularly kids and teens, about the true cost of in-game transactions. Because at the end of the day, the kids are not spending their own money; they're spending their parents' money. This agreement came after a complaint filed by the U.S. Department of Justice, charged that HoYoverse actively marketed Genshin Impact to children and collected personal information from them in violation of Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule, COPPA. The complaints also charged that Hoyo deceive players with the odds of winning particular sought-after 5-star loot box prizes. Loot box prizes. You say like 5-star items or characters. And how much it would cost to open loot boxes to win the prizes. Finally, the complaint also claimed that Hoyo's promotional tactics for the loot boxes were unfair to children and teenagers. I mean, quite frankly, you don't need to spend anything in the game. Most of the characters I have, like I got Mawika, didn't spend a dime. Didn't spend a dime. I got her though. Not only did I get her on my main account, but on my second account that I'm going through, I'm like re-experiencing the whole the journey, because I've been playing since the beginning, really. Or like I think a month or so after the game. Yeah, I think it was like a month or so. I'm kind of going back right now. I'm in Inazuma, but I'm going through, and I got even on that account single pulls for Moika. I got her. You don't need to spend anything. So it'd be great if they could implement some kind of setting or something where you can go on to make sure that, you know, there's no money that's able to be spent, where you turn it off and all those options that involve real money purchases are just, they kind of like disappear. Like maybe a passcode, it's like parental controls on TV or the phone, internet or something, putting in a code in order to access it. So yeah, you set that you don't want any transactions visible. You have the code, and then you don't tell your kid the code. You don't make it obvious. You don't make it something that they can figure out. And then when you feel like it's okay for them to finally have in-game transactions again, you go in, put that code in, everything appears, and bada bing, bada boom. But, specifically regarding the violations of COPPA, the press release detailed the Genshin Impact is a child-directed online... That Genshin Impact is a child-directed online services that collects personal information from children under 13 and are therefore is required by COPPA to notify parents about the information they collect from children and to obtain their consent for this collection of that personal data. Rah. These are old. I mean, kind of, because this event was a while ago. Kirara. Collects this information and failed to obtain parental consent and did not comply with other COPPA requirements. Furthermore, the press release alleges that Hoyoverse shared with third-party analytic firms and advertisers user IDs as well as device-related persistent identifiers to track players, progress, purchases, system, or settings, friends lists, according to the complaint. Specifically, the press release notes that upon approval of a federal judge that Hoyoverse must pay $20 million fine, and that it will be prohibited from allowing children under 16 to purchase loot boxes in their video games without a parental affirmation express consent, which, again, how are they going to go about that? Because YouTube has the same issue. It's like, oh, that's what YouTube Kids is for. It's like, okay, if you're a kid and, you want your parent and you want your kid to watch stuff that's for them, but yet YouTube is having to deal with parents either not paying attention or the kids lying about their age, and they're able to see, explicit stuff on YouTube. So it's like, how do you go about preventing it from happening? And then in the end, especially with YouTube, when it comes down to it, the content creators are the ones who get hit. We're getting hit with all these rules and regulations, and we have to say, oh, our channel is not for children and stuff like that, and yet it still messes us up and screws us over. So it's like, so how do you go about doing this? How can you again, it's like adult sites. You must be 18. Yes. Like, how are they even going to go about this? Prohibit loot boxes selling loot boxes using virtual currency without providing an option for consumers to purchase them directly with real money. I mean, like the whole point of a gotcha system or loot boxes is because you don't know what you're going to get. Gotcha systems are like a box of chocolates. The whole point of it is to like not know. It's like RNG. So if you can just go in and purchase something directly, then it kind of takes the fun out of it. So that's like saying, oh yeah, you can spend all this on, pulling from Awika, or you can just purchase her directly for this amount of money. So I mean, required to disclose loot box odds and exchange rates. Yeah, like I said, for like that, right on the banner. There's so much space on that banner. They could say, odds of pulling 4-star, odds of pulling 5-star. That's all you have to do. Required to disclose loot box odds and exchange rates from blah, blah, blah. Required to delete any personal information previously collected from children under 13 unless they obtain parental consent to retain such data, and required to comply with COPPA, including its notice and consent requirements. I mean, it's something that would benefit everyone, not just kids, because even adults, like I said, even adults have to do these, like go back and see their polls and try to figure out if they've hit pity or not. And, then you have people who may have some kind of issue where they're not able to stop themselves, and just so there's so many factors that are in this. So I mean, making it more clear and concise, saying, hey, you're not guaranteed that, and every this many pulls will guarantee you this. That's what needs to be done right on the front page, not clicking on this, scrolling down and having it like in the fine print. No, it needs to be right there. Maybe a separate box on the side next to the banner saying, all the stats and everything of, oh, here are the percentage of this, and here's, that's all they have to do. Just don't know how they're going to be able to do the whole consent thing. Did your parents consent to this? Yes. So, but like I said, it may change the way things are done when it comes to pulling in the game, but I mean, the odds will pretty much still be the same. They're just going to be more clear, and people won't have to see, oh, well, what are the odds of this? No, it'll be right there. But anyway, yeah, it's it's like gambling, and so naturally the FTC has to kind of step in because you have these kids basically gambling, trying to get 5 stars and this and that, spending hundreds upon maybe thousands of dollars trying to get, the latest 5-star or whatever. So there obviously needs to be rules and regulations set in place. But how they're going to go about that is a different story. But anyway, it's Sasuke. It's Sasuke. That's not Sasuke. He's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, the guy who voices Sasuke. It's Sasuke. Dark, brooding, just like Sasuke, dark and brooding. But anyway, Dainsleif. But that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.